Heather, Carol, Cookie. I am honored to be able to share this time of centering with everyone. I just invite you to sit back with a nice tall spine, relax your shoulders down the back, release any of that residual tightness that we hold on to, and just be for a few moments with me. Centering, meaning be in the present moment, right? Releasing all of the chatter in the monkey mind for just a few more moments. Beautiful. Jane reminded us about the power in the silence of that beautiful hummingbird in the north. Let's be that hummingbird within, in our center. So as we drop down into our center, take a few nice deep breaths. Close your eyes. Focus perhaps on that light within us, the center of universal light. That light that shines through that third eye, that space between the brow. We forget that that's our GPS system. It's going to take us where we need to be within. So as we drop down into that beautiful center of universal light within, let's bring our palms together in front of our chest in a prayer position, dropping our chin down as we focus towards that miracle muscle, that beautiful heart that dwells within, asking for the divine guidance. So, oh my beloved, kindness of the heart, breath of life, I bow to you. I'm coming home, right? I'm coming home to the divine within. Spend a few more moments in that beautiful silence, making that connection with me. Take one nice deep breath and chant that wonderful sound of Om with me. Inhale. And that beautiful divine spirit and light within me truly honors and mirrors that beautiful divine spirit and light within each and every one of you. All 26 of us today. Namaste.
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 Good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Casilla, and I'm going to read the daily word today. And the word is togetherness. I share God's love, peace, and joy. While I treasure my times of quiet and solitude, I also look forward to enjoying the company of family, friends, and members of my faith community. Whether we're working, volunteering, praying, or simply enjoying one another's company, our shared experiences allow me to support people I care about and feel supported in return. I enjoy and value togetherness throughout every season of my human journey. During times of trial, hardship, or grief, being in the company of friends and family helps comfort me and keep me strong. Likewise, during times of celebration, being in the company of others multiplies my joy. In times of togetherness, may the love, peace, comfort, and joy of God bless us all. And from Acts 2:44, all who believed were together and had all things in common. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Diane Sordoni, and today I'm going to do a reading from the amazing Matt Kahn. If one wishes to discover the true meaning of oneness, then one must go where divinity always dwells, not in a dimension above and beyond it all, but right here, dressed up as the miracle known as you. Once this you has been found, the truth of it all has been remembered. Your body is in a living presence of source energy, with each and every thought, feeling, response, or reaction being one of infinite expression of innocence, growing, expanding, maturing, and evolving to celebrate the infinite capacity of one knowing itself on all levels and within all forms, degrees, and variations. May your experience of truth not be two opposite nouns known as human and divine, but one eternal reality where source and subject are interconnected even when experienced differently in the beauty of perception. And so it is. Thank you.
So good morning, everybody. I just want to first say thank you to everyone for all the prayers, the Reiki, the white light, everything you shared with Katie and I this week. I was sure scared with that seizure, but she's doing well. She's snoozing peacefully, and I really do appreciate it. Thanks so much. So good morning, I'm Kimberly Kelley, Spiritual Director of the Center of Universal Light. You might remember in some of my previous talks, I've said that every answer you really need is within you. Call it your inner being, your guides, your angels, or God. This is truly the only guide you need in order to take you out of the passenger seat and put you squarely into the driver's seat of your life. Now, one of the many things I love about astrology, and specifically Barry's readings, is that it can explain through planetary and energy events why things happen at times in your past. When you look at the future, even short-term like transits, the professional astrologer will point out potentials, possibilities, best times to make decisions, but they will never ever tell you what you should do. So those answers that will lead you to make the choices and decisions to put you in the driver's seat of your life come solely from within. I don't know about you, but for a long time I lived my life in default mode. You know what that is? That's the passenger. And let's see who is buzzing. And so I was on this, it wasn't really a roller coaster. It was a, how would you call it? I was just in the passenger seat. And I just allowed everybody else to make decisions for me because frankly, in the beginning, you know, when I was a young adult, everything was brand new. So I was like a sponge. So I didn't really care that I wasn't making the decisions because at the time I was just happy to have all these different opportunities, all these different adventures. So it was really good for a while, but then, you know, later being a passenger was oftentimes just simpler in order to avoid conflict, if you know what I mean. And I'm sure a lot of you have been through that. So In fact, I'll even go one step further and say that change is absolutely necessary as long as we're breathing. And in doing that, we have to get out of the passenger seat and into the driver's seat. And so as we get older, I'm 67 this November, November 23rd, write it down. As we get older, we tend to get into a mindset of being too old to change or too old to learn anything new or to live a different life than the one we've been living. And I believe that just really goes against our nature. So before I go further, I want to point out that with all the thousands and thousands of people I've met all over the world, I do believe there are lifetimes in our soul's journeys where the creator goes, you know, she might say something like, well, let's give her a break this time. She's been through a lot in previous lives. Let's just give her a break, let her cruise for a while. And I think that that's fun for some people, but there's always lessons to learn in that as well. So that having been said, I don't believe and will never believe that God wants us to play small. If you're unhappy, you're playing it small. Anytime you let someone else sit in your driver's seat, you're playing it small. And that was the impetus for my talk today. A woman in Arkansas I know thought she was going to be living the life of her dreams when she married this really wealthy guy. And she did for a long time, until he got tired of her. But by this time, she was already addicted to the money and the lifestyle, and then the abuse started. And the last time we talked, I found out she wanted to leave and would have gotten a really sweet settlement, but guess what? She had no idea how to drive. So as far as I know, she's still there. When I was on Facebook this week and I came across this post in one of my groups, and it said, something I never understood as a kid that drives a lot of what I do today is why people who are unhappy don't do anything to change their situation. I understand both sides. And granted, there's things we can't control, but there are plenty of things we can, like our work situation, our friends, our relationships, and sometimes just our attitudes. We have the power to change what our lives look like. So who do you spend time with every day? What do you spend time doing each day? And who do you spend your energy on? Chances are, if there's something we're really unhappy about, the universe will give you some subtle signs like nudges. Looking through a magazine, you might see something that tweaks you. Maybe you might see an ad in the paper, and if that doesn't work, well, there's always the cosmic 2x4. I don't think that's the best idea. So do yourself a favor, don't wait for that cosmic 2x4. It isn't usually pretty, kind of like the story I'm going to tell you about my ex-father-in-law. Now, I don't necessarily recommend the route he took, but in the end, it worked out really well for him. My ex-father-in-law was a dream. His name was James. I love James. Damn hard worker. He and the kids worked their 1,000-acre farm and ranch and held it down with a full-time job for as long as I knew him. He loved his kids. He was a man of very few words, very reserved, and he was just a wonderful man. And then one day he just snapped. You know, he just jumped right off of that gerbil wheel. Now, granted, he created a little havoc along the way and yada, yada, yada. He was institutionalized. So when he was released about 6 months later, he walked away from the ranch, his job, and of course, by this time, the kids were already grown. He divorced my mother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law, and he flew to Bogota, Colombia, where he used to live there as I used to live and work there as an engineer for one of the mining companies. And there in Bogota, he tracked down and reconnected with the love of his life from 40 years prior. He brought her back to the States and married her. And although these drastic events were a little, what would you call them? I don't know, over the top. I believe in some divine way it actually saved his life. He was now fully in his driver's seat. He and his new wife lived happily ever after together in love for the rest of their days. Now, you know, I'm certainly not for advocating for divorce, but I do advocate for making positive changes in our lives. Something as simple as changing an attitude or setting boundaries that work for you. So what are you waiting for? Why not do it now? Let's face it, if you're miserable, it's a sure sign that something needs changing, because you know what? Be a miracle is like having a bad wheel ball bearing. It ain't gonna get better, you just gotta change it. So first things first, accept where you are, but don't resign yourself to it. That means you don't have to passively accept things and behave like a victim. In fact, acceptance actually requires courage, determination, and honesty. It means accepting the fact that life is working for us and for our good, even if at the moment you can't see it. So then pay attention to your moods and emotions. And if you feel frustrated, resentful, irritated, bored, or sad, maybe even fearful, those are also signs that something's got to give. Can you think of other ways you're ready to tell that you're ready? Can you think of other ways to tell that you're ready? Other than physical? Maybe your body is feeling achy, stiff, in pain. I'm going through that now, and I'm working through it because I acknowledge it and understand it now. When I was in Nashville, one of my jobs was freelancing as a legal assistant. I loved it for a very long time because I made incredible money. I didn't get stuck in one office for very long, which really works for me. It worked for me at the time. I was known among my clients as the fixer because I came in, got them all caught up, organized, or whatever they needed, and left. It was a love-love relationship. Arvel and I were going out on the road in a conversion van for a week or so at a time. And during this period, I kept getting calls from the law firms. And the money was just too good to pass up. So we just rushed back to Nashville, and I'd go to work the next day. Then one day in early December, we were returning home to Nashville. And I remember getting a call from one of the office managers. She was one of my favorite, Beth Newkirk. She desperately needed someone to cover Christmas vacay for like a double pay. I told her I'd check my schedule, and I'd call her back, and because something didn't feel right. Something was going on, and I need to figure that out before I got back with her, because I didn't want to be locked into something I didn't want to do. So even though my schedule was open, I was terribly nauseated just thinking about going back to work. Nothing against the law firm. They were one of my favorites, but I knew that part of my life was over. Scary? Yeah, kind of. Giving up so much money was a little unnerving. But as soon as I quit doing that, a friend told me about a job opening at a video production company. They did many of the videos the country stars made, and the satellite uplinks where the stars could come in and sit in front of a camera, and then we would uplink their interview with whatever TV station in the world was interviewing them. It was a very cool gig. You got to see all the girls come in without their makeup on. So I got the job and was quickly promoted to marketing manager. I don't know why, because I never had any marketing experience, but I got it. I love that job, man. It was my favorite job ever. You ever had a job like that? So don't be afraid to let those universal energies flow right through you to give you just that inspiration to open up a myriad of opportunities you may never have dreamed of on your own. In stealing a title from a book by Burke Hedges, you can't steal second with your foot on first. So why stay in any place where you're not happy? You could even write a whole new, more authentic story for yourself. By the way, if you need help rewriting your story, be here at Studio B at 6:30 on Tuesday nights with Roxana Dragoner. She's really very good at what she does. So maybe you're retired and feeling bored, or maybe you just need some kind of new direction. Get involved in something new, like nonprofit. We always need help. Or join a special interest club, be a mentor, be a volunteer, use your expertise to volunteer someone or to mentor someone young. Start a new hobby, learn a language, which is frankly the best thing you can do for your brain, or start a second career. There's a lot of things you can do if you just allow yourself that energy to go with it. And then understand what's really holding you back. Tune into that intuition. Be brutally honest with yourself about what it is that's holding you back. Once you've identified the change that needs to be made, feel the real obstacle to change. Almost always, it's fear. So the greatest fear associated with change is the fear of failure. But the only way to avoid that is to not do anything and live in the passenger seat. Making mistakes is just a really big part of that learning curve. So don't judge yourself, though. Assess the situation, make adjustments, make corrections, do it again, do it anyway. Anyone who may want to judge you just does not belong in your orbit. So now some of you may be very content or happy with where you are, and if so, that is so awesome. But for those who are feeling the push, the pull, the nudge of restlessness, what's frightening you the most about taking that step? But rather than let fear paralyze you, allow it to energize you. Do you know that fear and anxiety are very similar? And the biological response to anxiety, fear, and excitement is very similar. So even though you may be feeling fear and anxiety about the possibility of change, it could just be excitement. Start looking at it as excitements. I'll tell you what, the biggest excitement / fear I ever had was riding that huge roller coaster up on top of that Las Vegas hotel. Anybody else ever do that? Yeah. It was heart-stopping. And man, I was all in. I've never had such a rush. And I wouldn't have had that rush. I wouldn't have ridden it. So look at it like a challenge and tap into that energy so you can use it as a force that compels you into action. In other words, feel the fear, do it anyway. I promise you that feeling of fear will turn right into excitement. You just got to do it. Fear's never really been an issue for me, but my own experience with big changes centered around trust. Trust in the people around me, trust in the universe, people giving me the freedom to change and not change our relationship. I now know without a shadow of a doubt that the universe truly has my trust in my back. Too many incredible things have happened over the last many months, and they just do. The universe has my back. The universe definitely has my back. So if taking that big step is just too much, start building your courage muscles. You know, start doing little things. Chunk it down. Chunk down that big thing. Start making them little things. Take part in manageable actions that you can do, like trying new things, new activities, experiences, anything that gets you out of your comfort zone. Spend more time with people who challenge you, who ask more of yourself, or simply take on a new skill. The point is to make challenging yourself physically, emotionally, psychologically, intellectually a habit. And when you do that, the big ones don't feel so big. So celebrate even those small victories every day. That keeps your motivation high. So, and then try this exercise. When you write in your journal, write at least one thing each day that you consider a small or a great success. Doesn't matter, any kind. Not only things related to your career work. You may have cooked something delicious. You may have put together an IKEA piece of furniture, which I understand isn't all that hard, but it doesn't matter. Celebrate it. Maybe you helped a friend. Maybe you helped a stranger, and I don't know. Then after having written your successes, celebrate. Party. You can party alone, doesn't matter. Put on some dance music, whatever flips your switch. And then connect your head with your heart. Make your dreams real. Make them more real by connecting them with your values. Make your dreams more real by connecting them with your deeper self, your deeper sense of purpose. Because it compels you to dig deeper when the going gets tough, you know? There's going to be bumps in the road. But this will keep you squarely in the driver's seat and not let you get distracted by those minor setbacks or anything else. And then remember, we talk about values, freedom, money, happiness, love in order to make your best decisions. You know, you got to know what those values are. If you're looking at a decision to be made and you don't know what's more important to you, money or freedom or love or money or whatever, if you don't know what that value is, you're not going to make the best decision. And then you've got to know what the criteria is related to each value. Like, how will you know when you're happy? How will you know when you feel freedom? I mean, there's all types of ways to do this. And finally, I want you to take 3 deep breaths right now. Just get comfortable, take 3 deep breaths. Inhale to the count of 7, hold for 4 seconds, and then exhale to the count of 11. Go ahead and take those right now. And on the next inhale, just drop down into your heart. And then I wonder if you can see yourself 20, 30, 40 years from now. Just gently close your eyes when you're ready. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself 20, 30, 40 years into the future. And then rise up above yourself and turn around. Just in your mind, just turn around. And I want you to look at your past. If you stay on the same path that you're on right now, what are you most likely to look back on with regret? Do you see anything? Do you see it? Okay. there's your set point for change. Acknowledge it. And now I just want you to let it fade away. Allow it to fade away. It now holds you no longer to that past regret. As long as we're breathing, dreaming, hoping, wishing, and wanting something more, there's time to change and more to do. There are so many choices available. There's several of us in just our community that are here to help you discover what's right for you, simply by asking non-leading questions that cause you to come to your own conclusions. Call any of us when you're ready. And if that doesn't prod you to change, take inspiration from someone who lived life to the max. To quote Auntie Mame, life's a buffet and most poor bastards are starving to death. Now get into that driver's seat and drive to the nearest buffet. Thank you so much. I'm Kimberly Kelley.